A funny day at the beach. Hi, everyone. My name is Lily. Today, I have a super fun story for you. Get ready because this was one of the happiest and funniest days of my life. The title of today's story is A Funny Day at the Beach. All right, take a deep breath, relax, and let me tell you everything that happened. Last Saturday, I woke up and saw the sun was bright, the sky was perfectly blue, so I felt quite excited. I looked outside my window and said, "Today is a beach day." I packed my colorful towel, my big pink hat, my sunglasses, and, of course, my bottle of sunscreen, because I love protecting my skin. I felt excited because I hadn't gone to the beach in a long time. I imagined the waves, the warm sand, and the blue of the ocean, and that already made me smile. When I arrived at the beach, everything looked amazing. The water sparkled like glass, families played near the shore, and the wind carried the smell of coconut sunscreen everywhere. I found a perfect spot near a palm tree, and I placed my towel on the sand. A friendly dog ran by me with a little ball in its mouth. The dog looked at me like it wanted to invite me to play. I laughed and waved at it. The dog wagged its tail and continued running. It was so funny. After getting comfortable, I decided to walk along the water. The waves touched my feet gently, and the water felt warm. I loved that feeling. Suddenly, a tiny crab walked in front of me, moving sideways like a little dancer. I followed it for a few seconds and said, "You are fabulous, little crab." I laughed so much because it looked like the crab understood me and continued walking calmly. Then I saw a group of kids trying to build a giant sandcastle. They worked together with buckets and shovels. One of the kids said, "Hey, do you want to help us?" Of course. I said yes. I sat with them and helped build towers, walls, and even a small bridge. We decorated the castle with seashells and small pieces of wood we found on the sand. When we finished, it looked amazing, like a real castle. Everyone cheered, and I felt so happy being part of that moment. After that, I decided to swim. I jumped into the water, and everything felt refreshing. The waves moved smoothly, and I floated peacefully while looking at the sky. Suddenly, a big wave came from behind and lifted me gently. When I returned to the sand, something funny happened. I sat down to drink some water and relax, but the wind decided to play with me. My big pink hat flew off my head and started rolling across the sand like a wheel. I ran after it, laughing the entire time. People watched me and some pointed and laughed with me. It was a really fun moment. A man who was flying a kite grabbed my hat for me and said, "Here you go." It was really fast. I said, "Thank you. Maybe my hat wants to be a runner today." We both laughed and he continued flying his kite. A few minutes later, I took out some snacks I brought with me: watermelon slices, grapes, and a sandwich. But before I could take a bite, a group of curious seagulls landed near me. They stared at my food like they were part of a comedy show. I said, "Sorry, friends, this is my lunch." They tilted their heads as if they understood. One of them made a funny sound, and I started laughing again. After a moment, they flew away peacefully. Later, in the afternoon, something even funnier happened. I decided to take pictures of the ocean with my phone. I wanted to capture the waves and the golden sun, But at the exact moment I took a picture, a splash of water came up, and a small fish jumped out of the water for a second and photobombed my picture. When I looked at the photo, I saw the fish in midair with its mouth open like it was smiling. I couldn't stop laughing. It was the best beach picture I ever took. As the sun began to set, the sky turned orange, pink, and purple. It looked like a painting. I sat on my towel, listened to the sound of the waves, and felt so grateful for the day. Everything was funny, light, and joyful. At the end of the day, I took one last deep breath of fresh ocean air, and I said out loud, "This was a beautiful and funny day at the beach." And it truly was in each detail. And that was my story, friends. I hope you enjoyed spending this day with me. If you liked this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I have many more fun and simple English stories coming soon, so stay tuned. See you in the next video. Bye!